everyone, thank you for joining me here on this another episode of Vegan Police TV. This one I'm continuing my series on answering viewers' questions. Now this is, if you caught the previous episode, there's a number of little subsections to questions that were asked by a viewer on my Vegans and Pets clip. So rather than doing it a more mishmash in one big episode, I'm breaking them all up into separate episodes. Now this one is responding to the second part of the question that was asked. In some countries it is legally forbidden to euthanize healthy animals, so this option isn't always given. And this is well justified ethically because the basic interest of every animal is to stay alive. Animals always avoid dangerous situations as far as possible. There are only some rare cases of animals dying for their colony or for their brood. Some female spiders serve as the first meal for their brood, for example. So if we care about the interests of animals, we should take their will to exist seriously. If you murder someone with a bullet in their head in their sleep, is it still wrong, although he or she did not suffer? Why shouldn't this be true for animals too? Now, yes, this is the thing, is that as I've said, sort of got to in that one, is from myself as someone that's advocating for rights and equal consideration of other animals. There is a point where, due to the large number of animals that we had through domestication and through commodification through food, entertainment and things like that, there will become a point in time where the rights of that animal are violated. So using pound or rescued animals, for example, yes, they've got a right to life. Yes, they've got a right not to be considered property. And that's the thing. Which one's more important? They've got a right to their own expression. They've got a right to all this sort of stuff. Now, which one takes precedence? The right to life takes precedence over every other right. Okay, that's fine. The right to life does. Okay, what about at what point in time they're out in the backyard, or they're out on a farm somewhere? You know, the owners have got humongous backyard. The animals out playing. It's a warm summer's day. The dog's running around in the backyard. All of a sudden a snake comes through, crawls under the fence. The dog says, "Oh, I've never seen a snake before," and goes running after the snake. Gets bitten by the snake. The owner of the dog is away at work for another 4 or 5 hours. Comes home. The dog's lying there, has been bitten by the snake, has been lying there in excruciating pain for 5, 6, 7 hours. However long it is, doesn't mean if it's 20 minutes. Pain is still pain, and this is what we're talking about. If you're going to talk about suffering, is that what suffering is worse? The relative suffering of sitting in an enclosure for 4 weeks before the animal is decided not suitable for rehoming because the animal's gone and got what do they call it, cabin fever or something like that, and is not able to be rehomed. So technically, then the animal isn't healthy. So therefore, the euthanization is that a word? May be justified. So in that situation, or going home and suffering that way. Now, I'm not saying that every dog is going to get bitten by a snake and spend hours in excruciating pain, slowly dying that way. So, all animals do spend time away from their owners. It doesn't matter whether it's 20 minutes going up to the shop. It doesn't matter whether it's 8 hours, 9 hours going to work, 10 hours going to work. And this is the other thing too, is that humans have a concept of time. How long is it for a dog? That the time, how long does the dog view the time that you've gone? Is that expensive time? Is that all day? Is it half the animal's lifetime? Who knows? So this is the thing, is that I'm not saying that we should be killing every animal. What I'm saying is that we should be considering that if we're talking about suffering, what's suffering, and even rights violations as well. And this is something, if going to a pound and saying, all right, every animal here, pet ownership is no more. It is illegal across the board. What do we do now? The ones that are in pounds and shelters and things like that, do we euthanize them because there's not going to be any more shelters anymore, and things like that, or do we wait to get them rehomed from there? So it's one of those things, is that yes, there's no easy answer. There's no right and wrong answer to it as well. It just depends on what your views are. Now, myself, I don't believe pet ownership. I mean, from myself, I think that if every shelter became a 100% kill shelter, then that would cause people to think differently about pet ownership, and will cause people to think differently about pet rescues, and cause people to think differently about that, because they know that they keep their animal at home or their dog running around in the backyard. If that dog, manages to get out and is caught by animal control, council, whoever, the chances of that animal being euthanized straight away are very, very high. So this, and this is what we need to be doing. We need to be causing people to think about things. And for those who are promoting, no-kill shelters are the way to go, well, what happens when that no-kill shelter is full and cannot take any more animals? Then they send those animals onto another shelter where that shelter does kill. So this is the thing. It's not an easy black and white answer. It's not, everything has complexities. Suffering, which one suffering is greater? The 4 weeks in the cage there to a relatively painless death, or another 5-9 years, however long that they have the suffering at home by being left at home alone by themselves. Being that, yes, so this is the thing. It's a very complex thing. There's no simple answer, and for people just to pick one or two segments out and say, this is the thing. How about in this situation? If it came a time that pet ownership was outlawed, there may have to be a change in legislation to do that. So I hope I answered that point. Now, yes, death is death, and unnecessarily killing an animal is wrong. Though, that being said, if you are killing all the animals in the shelter, the pounds, whatever, and then from that point in time there's no more ownership of animals, then is that really an unnecessary killing? It's a complex issue. It's something that, going back to the rights violation there of their right to life, as opposed to their right to urgent medical attention, adequate medical attention, their right to sexual expression, their right to freedom of association, and things like that. So, which rights violations, a bit of a tongue twister there, are no-go compromises on you, and which ones are you willing to compromise on? Same as suffering. Which suffering are you willing to compromise on? So yes. Anyway, actually, I'll read into this one. I was going to make number 3 a separate one, and just looking at it now, I'll include this one because I think it's all relevant. Now, question part 3 is: whereas if you take them home, they suffer every day. They are left at home alone without stimulation. It is oversimplifying to say that animals suffer every day in our homes. Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence that there is no sufficient stimulation? It can be true, but there is no need to be true. Again, you have to look at the very case. Animals have different needs, interests, etc. A stick insect is only interested in some needs: food, enough space for skinnings, the right climate, sexual partners, and security. You can easily see that it is possible that a breeder is able to overbid nature easily in this case. In comparison, keeping a highly sensitive and intelligent parrot is far more problematic. If you fail to be rational, if you avoid to deal with concrete cases. Now, this is the thing. Have a look. Puppies need stimulation because they're growing. This is the thing. If puppies are left alone, they'll get into everything. They'll get into that whole sorbent ad. It reminds me of that sorbent ad in the toilet paper in Australia, where a little Labrador puppy left home alone and went and grabbed the toilet roll out of the bathroom and just pulled the toilet roll, running around the house with a roll of toilet paper in his mouth. And in the dog's mouth, I'm going to have to start put a rubber band on there. So this is the thing, is that running around the toilet roll there. What is it? The free TV ads. Dog goes to work and watches TV all day for stimulation. There's been things where if animals are left at home alone, that behaviourists or animal behaviour experts and things like that will say, leave a radio on so the animal hears that there's noise there. So this is the thing, is that animals do suffer. They suffer because they're inside and they can't get water. They might suffer because they need to go outside to go and do their business. And so this is the thing: what suffering's good, what suffering's bad, what suffering is acceptable to you, what isn't. And using the example from before, let's say the animal suffered because there's a storm, thunderstorm, and it happens a lot in all over the world. The thunder and lightning scares the animal. That level of suffering there, is that acceptable or not acceptable? And so this is the thing: is that I'm not saying everything is a concrete case. What I'm saying is that you need to consider the interests and the needs of the animal above your own. Yes, it's good for you to go out to your group of friends and say, oh, look, I've rescued this animal, and do selfies and Facebook posts and updates and say, oh, look at my rescued animal. Well, if you're gone 9 hours a day because you work somewhere, then really, are you providing the best home for the animal? And this is the thing: I'm not saying every pet ownership case is cut and dried and black and white. Just everything is to be considered. So anyway, this is a bit of a longer rant, 2 questions in one there. So thanks for watching. Thumbs up, thumbs down, like, subscribe, and leave your comments. And remember, don't fear the vegan police. We're here to help.